A lot of great sports this weekend, some great college games tomorrow and pro games on Sunday. But tonight, all the eyes will be on the World Series Game 1, Dodgers and Yankees in Los Angeles. Adam Burke is the managing editor at VSiN, VSiN.com, the sports betting network, the first 24/7 betting network dedicated exclusively to sports betting, which you can hear on Fox Sports 1230, The Gambler, our sister station. Adam, it's great to have you back on.
Yeah, good to be with you, Scott. A lot to talk about, a lot going on, as you mentioned.
First of all, I'm sorry for the Guardians. They tried their best.
Yeah, I think it's more about the manner in which it happened, not that they lost the series, because, they were definitely a clear underdog in that series. It would have been very difficult. The way they played in Yankee Stadium the first two games, it would have been very difficult in Game 6 and 7. But, you really truly saw the payroll disparity come into play and what power can do for you in the postseason. And until they decide to increase payroll, these are the kinds of things that they're going to run into in the month of October.
Do you think at some point Major League Baseball and other pro sports are going to have to address the salary issues in all the professional sports? When you see outrageous contracts like what Deshaun Watson has with the Browns and his performance, at some point you got to say, whoa, maybe we should base all of this on incentives.
I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't think the players union would ever really allow that to happen. It's one of those things where, the leagues are just printing money, right? And owners, whether they spend or not, are printing money. And so, in a league like the NHL, for example, where there's a salary cap both on the high end and on the low end, there is a salary cap floor that you have to meet in the NHL. Major League Baseball should consider that, at least having a floor on kind of forcing, some of these owners, specifically teams like Oakland, teams like Pittsburgh, stuff like that really truly don't spend, kind of force them to do it a little bit. But, hey, as long as everybody's still making money, they're going to do what they're going to do. The thing to me, and I think this is pertinent with, the fact that we're going to talk about the Dodgers here in the World Series in a couple of minutes. They have so many deferred salary amounts. They're paying guys into the 2040s. Who knows if the earth still exists at that point, but that's the way that they kind of did a loophole to be able to afford all this high-priced talent. And maybe that's a loophole that needs to go away, or maybe that's a loophole that teams need to also start embracing.
And I guess for the players, it's a guaranteed income for a while, but you're right. Who knows what kind of world we'll be living in 10 years. It's fascinating. Some of the players, and there have been very few, but a few players have opted to be compensated in Bitcoin, which could really be a big payoff, or it could be a complete bust at some point.
Yeah, I will admit to not being a crypto expert by any means, but, it is something where it does have, the potential to go up, whereas, the dollar is kind of the dollar. Obviously, cost of living changes. And, I think something else, too, that's really, really challenging is, and obviously it doesn't really matter for the Dodgers, I guess. I'm sure there's some sort of tax loophole advantage to the players and allowing things to be deferred this long. But, the different tax rules in different states, players are very much aware of those things, and their agents are very much aware of those things. So, that's an unlevel playing field that's never going to go away. And something that, maybe some teams will be a little bit more aggressive about than others. But, players they're not going to go to a state that maybe doesn't have great weather, and also they hit you with taxes. So, those are things that, it's interesting, the financials of pro sports, that's for sure.
Adam Burke is managing editor at VSiN, VSiN.com. You can also find him on X at Skating Tripods. And for a limited time, because we're in the sports equinox, all 4 major sports are playing this month, VSiN Pro subscriptions available through May 1st for only $120. And this includes access to VSiN's 24/7 channel, special betting guides like the NHL betting guide that Adam just put together, pro betting tips, and more. VSiN.com/subscribe for details. World Series Game 1 tonight, Dodgers and Yankees. TV networks, Fox has to be happy that they've got the 2 major markets involved in the World Series. How does it look? How does the series play out?
Yeah, it's a huge win for Major League Baseball. It's a huge win for network executives and advertisers. But look, I think people are a little bit disenfranchised by the fact that the 2 highest payrolls are in the World Series, and the fact that Shohei Ohtani will make $68 million a year from 2034 to 2043 because of the way that his contract was structured. But look, I mean, these are two teams that have spent like crazy. And the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009. And the Dodgers World Series has an asterisk next to it because it came in 2020 during the COVID bubble year. So the short year, the bubble playoffs, all of that. So even though these two teams spend a ton of money, and people may hate that, and I understand why, these two organizations, I mean, it's not like they've been winning championships left and right. So it's a very compelling World Series in that regard, particularly when you have probably 6 Hall of Fame hitters between the two lineups. But then you also have really big pitching concerns for both teams. And specifically for me, pitching concerns for the Dodgers. I mean, Jack Flaherty gave up 8 runs in 3 innings in his Game 5 start against the Mets. That's the last time we saw him. And it wasn't just that he didn't pitch well. It was that his fastball velocity was down 2 miles per hour from his season average. So the Dodgers, who have to out-hit a pretty bad pitching staff to come away with the World Series victory in this series, I'm curious to see how Flaherty looks tonight. If he looks good, if the velocity is back, that's a huge help for them going forward. If he doesn't, and Garrett Cole looks better than he did against Cleveland, that's a big advantage for the Yankees. So I think it's kind of tough. I would lean towards the Yankees to win the series as of now, but I kind of want to – there's a lot of things I want to see before I'd be interested in betting from a game-by-game standpoint.
What are you looking at for Game 1, if anything? I took under 10 runs for the total score at -120. I thought that was a pretty good bet.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tricky, right? Because Cole didn't pitch well against Cleveland. He had 10 base runners in 4 1/3. He walked 4 guys, which is very much not what Garrett Cole does. And these were 2 lineups that were top 3 in walk rate this season. In fact, the Yankees had the highest walk rate, I think, in the last 20 years, I want to say. So these two teams do, they don't swing at bad pitches, right? They're very, very patient in the box. You should get a lot of base runners as a result. I mean, a total of 9 in a playoff game is very, very high. When you consider that, I mean, we were seeing 6.5s in the series between the Yankees and the Guardians. So it's a big adjustment in terms of where this total lands. The one thing that I played here in this one is Garrett Cole over 4.5 hits allowed. Both of these pitchers have had problems striking guys out in the postseason. In the regular season, they didn't. But in the playoffs, they are having problems with that. And so Cole, a guy who typically throws a lot of strikes, if the stuff isn't good enough to generate swings and misses, the Dodgers are going to put the bat on the ball and hit the ball hard, because this is a Dodgers team that was on base almost 40% of the time in that series against the Mets. So I like Cole over 4.5 hits allowed. As far as the game goes, I lean Yankees at plus money just because I think Cole is a little bit more reliable than Flaherty, but it's not a bet that I've made here so far.
Run line is 1.5 runs. It looks like the Dodgers are favored. They're at home. They're in L.A. I think the series goes to 7. I haven't looked to see if that's a bet available yet, but I think just on gut, and again, I'm not the baseball guy. I'm just a gambler. I think that the Yankees in 7 games is what I would expect.
Yeah, so the thing about series like this is, places like DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, Caesars, all the major players there in the legal U.S. markets, they're going to offer over/under number of series games. They're going to offer exact series outcome. Like you can bet, Yankees in 7. That's something you can do. That's plus 475 if that comes through. Number of games over/under 6.5 is plus 195 to have a game 7 to be over 6.5 games. So basically bet 100 to win 195 if you think there will be a game 7. I think it could certainly be a long series. I mean, the Yankees have a very clear and distinct starting pitcher advantage, but the Dodgers are the better offense, especially 1 through 9. The Yankees are led by Judge, Soto, and Stanton, as we just saw, if you're a Cleveland fan. The Dodgers are good 1 through 9. And Freddie Freeman hasn't done anything this postseason, and he's an elite-level hitter. So we'll see if he's a little bit healthier here. But the Dodgers have better lineup depth. The Yankees have far better starting pitching depth. I think the 2 bullpens are a wash. So I could envision this definitely being a long series.
Adam Burke, managing editor at VEASAN.com, on Twitter at Skating Tripods. So just looking ahead for this weekend, you're not really comfortable with anything, it sounds like, yet.
I mean, as far as, I think you take a position on the Yankees to win the series, because if they win game 1 here, they're going to be a favorite for the series. And I do think there's a good chance that they win game 1, just because, like I said, I trust Cole more than Flaherty. So when you look at the series price for this, it kind of mirrors game 1 in a lot of ways. DraftKings has the Yankees plus 105 to win the series. They're plus 105 to win game 1. if they win game one, they're probably, if I had to guess, minus 150 or minus 160 to win the series, maybe a little bit higher. So I think you're getting some good value on that if you think they win game one. I think they could lose game one and still win the series anyway because of the depth of their pitching. But I do think that the Yankees ultimately, are the better value to win the World Series. But that Dodgers offense is elite, man. I mean, again, they had a 395 on base percentage against the Mets. They scored 52 runs in the 6 games of that series. So, this is a team that is just really, really gifted offensively. And, hey, you got to score runs to win the playoffs. And that's what's hurt Cleveland in the past, but it doesn't hurt teams like this.
Good stuff. What do you get in the VSiN.com 2024 NHL betting guide that you've just put out?
Yeah, the NHL betting guide is out. I know we're into the NHL season here so far, but there was a lot of good preview content in that. Also, we released our college basketball betting guide yesterday. So that has previews of every conference, team previews for the major conferences, some futures best bets, awards best bets, stuff like that. College basketball season starts November 4th. So we got that guide out 10 days in advance of the start of the season, I guess 11. Our NBA betting guide came out recently as well, and we got daily NBA betting content from Zachary Cohen and Jonathan Von Tobel. So I encourage everyone to go to VSiN.com, and we got a Sports Equinox special right now. About $20 a month, get you VSiN Pro access through May 1st. So that's a good deal over there at the website.
Love that. It's available at VSiN.com/subscribe. College action tonight. Our Toledo Rockets men's basketball team traveling to Ann Arbor for an exhibition game against Michigan. Normally, these exhibition games have been private, but the NCAA allowing them to open to the public and raise money for charity. We're actually going to carry that game on WSBD tonight at 7 o'clock. And even though it's an exhibition game, it'll be a good challenge for the Toledo Rockets, and we'll get to see what Michigan's all about this year, too.
Yeah, definitely. It's always interesting to see these scrimmages and kind of see what these teams do bring to the table because, the thing about college basketball is the transfer portal is robust, to say the least. And so, you've got a lot of rosters that look dramatically different because they've had so many guys come in and go out. And for a team like Toledo that tends to be a pretty good team in the MAC, tends to be a very good three-point shooting team, you can go to the smaller conferences and find guys like that. But, they don't always work out. So a lot of these teams trying to figure out how to play together early in the season. And that was one of the themes that we talked about a lot in that college basketball betting guide.
VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it through May 1st for only $120. It's the Sports Equinox special. And find Adam Burke on X, formerly Twitter, @Skating Tripods. Adam, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend watching sports.
Have a good one, Scott.